We have 3 more players confirmed to be becoming UFAs after their buyouts. We'll discuss the deal and how it impacts their salary caps coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we got some more news today. It's the last day for the NHL buyout window. Just a quick clarification how things work here. If a player has a no-move clause and a team wants to buy them out, that no-move clause, it kind of prevents them from having to go through waivers, so they can make a buyout officially right away. They don't need to go through that process. They need to start the process and then make it official just once it's all completed. So there's no waivers required, but if a player doesn't have that condition, they have to go through unconditional waivers for the purpose of a buyout. Another team can claim them, but it really doesn't make any sense to do that, in most cases at least. So generally everybody clears and they can become free agents and sign fresh new contracts with whatever team is willing to talk to them afterwards. But we do know that Jeff Skinner was previously bought out by the Buffalo Sabres, so we already knew about that one. And we got 3 more confirmed buyouts here today. The Edmonton Oilers are indeed buying out Jack Campbell. He still has 3 years left, $5 million per season. So, of course, Campbell had come over as a free agent to Edmonton from the Toronto Maple Leafs, signed a 5x5 contract. And, well, we know things didn't really work out. The first year, at least he was in the NHL, but at least, overall wasn't great. Goaltending was certainly a big part of their weakness and why they didn't go further. This past year, things got off to a bad start. Campbell ended up going through waivers, sent to the minors, fired their coach. Well, we know that they ended up salvaging their season and had a really, really strong finish from the point in November on when they changed the coach. Which I still don't think it was Jay Woodcroft's fault, but anyways, Campbell was a big part of the slump there. There were times he played well in the minors, and there was times he struggled in the AHL too, so I don't know what comes next for Jack. He seems like a really good person, though. I do feel for him, but professionally, business-wise, this makes a ton of sense for Edmonton. So they saved $3.9 million for the coming year, followed by $2.7 and $2.4 respectively in the final 3 years of the contract. Because it is a 2/3 buyout, and of course it's stretched out over twice the period of time, they will have 3 additional years. So it's going to be 6 years total on the cap. The 3 additional years beyond the existing contract will all have a cap hit of $1.5 million. So at the end of the day, the Oilers have to be more worried about the now, the present, than they are 2, 3, 4 years down the road. They need all the dollars and space they can get to try to retain some of these UFAs that are important to that roster, as well as trying to make some other upgrades to try to get back to the Stanley Cup next year after losing in Game 7 of the final. So this is a pretty good scenario for Edmonton to get some space back, and at the same time, for Campbell, he gets a chance to move on. And see, they were trying to trade him. The prices were way too high, and I'm not even sure there was even that many options for them for teams to take it on. So we'll see. You got to remember as well, they already had him buried in the minors. So even though they're saving $3.9 million in space the coming year with him being in the minors, they already had a little bit of relief there. So it won't feel like the 3.9 entirely. It would be more like 2.8 or something like that. That would be now extra available than it was before. We also got word that veteran defenseman Nate Schmidt of the Winnipeg Jets is being bought out of the final year of his contract, which owes him $5.95 million. His cap hit will now become $2.7 million for the Jets after this buyout. So that's pretty substantial savings. That's about $3.25 million. Obviously, Winnipeg, again, looking to do some things as well. Their blue line's definitely getting a bit of a makeover, which was really good for them this year, but Schmidt's not going to be back. We know that. Brendan Dillon, also who came to the team around the same time as a UFA, is not expected to resign, so Schmidt and Dillon will be gone. We have Logan Stanley needs a new contract as well as an RFA. He should be back, but again, I don't know exactly what their plans are for him. I know you could probably fair to say that Neil Pionk, he still has term on his contract, but it's only 1 year, but he's not really been the greatest fit that they were hoping for when they made that trade with the Rangers involving Jacob Trouba a while back. So obviously, things are changing for Trouba right now in the Rangers, which we've talked about on the channel in a few different videos too, but we'll see where that goes. But Pionk, I do wonder if they might do something with him this offseason. I don't know if he'll be involved in a deal or not, but you've got Morrissey. They just signed Dylan DeMello. They're going to obviously give more of an opportunity to some of the younger guys like Sandberg and maybe Heinola. We'll see what Logan Stanley ends up with. So at the end of the day, this is a really valuable, necessary space for the Jets, and Schmidt can move on. I would suspect, considering what he's going to be getting paid, he could probably get another contract. It's going to have to be a lot cheaper though. Maybe it's a 1x1 or a 1-time or 2x1 or something along those lines. But at the end of the day, Schmidt can be a good depth defenseman. I don't think a lot of teams are going to want to put him in a top 4 role, but maybe he's a 6-7 kind of guy on teams, and we'll see what happens to him, but he'll have his options to move along. And another buyout as well. This one's going to be a little cheaper, but the Columbus Blue Jackets are buying out 23-year-old defenseman Adam Boqvist. Because of Boqvist's age, this is not a 2/3 buyout like the other 2 veterans we just talked about. This is a 1/3 buyout, so the cost is a lot cheaper. His cap hit right now is only $2.6 million as well. So given that, they actually are going to end up with a cap credit next year. So the way the buyout formula would work, this is a rare scenario, but it does happen that the buyout cost is actually going to be less than what they've already paid him through his contract. So they're going to have a cap credit next year just over $66,000. It's actually $66,666. So that's 5 sixes. And then the year after, which would be tacked on as the twice the period of time, so 2 years, would only have a cap hit of $533,000. So it's a pretty cheap situation for them, and they get to move on from the defenseman that obviously Don Waddell's not overly fond of. I think that roster is going to get a big makeover with a new GM in town. Boqvist goes. I do wonder about Jake Bean. I know Waddell moved on from him at Carolina. I don't know if he's a fan of his. He's an RFA due qualifying offer. I have a feeling he's not going to get one. I think we're going to start to see a little bit of an exodus there as well. But I remember back, wasn't that long ago, 2-3 years ago, when the Blue Jackets started remaking their blue line as well. And Boqvist and Bean both came over as players that were available at a young age. And really, it's fair to say that neither one of them really kind of worked out to the level that they were hoping for. And as of tomorrow, they're probably both going to be gone from the organization as this Jackets team continues to go through this massive rebuild. So as I mentioned before, we still have Jeff Skinner that's been bought out. And there could still be more players can be placed on waivers today. But as of the time I'm recording this video, it looks like that time has passed to place them on waiver. So unless a team starts a process that has a no-move clause and doesn't need them, this will probably be the end of this buyout period. But teams can get a second window later into the offseason once all their RFA business is completed as well, depending if they have arbitration cases or whatnot. So there could be others, but it looks like this is probably going to be the end of the line here. So those are all your news on buyouts for now. We'll be back later with more news and rumors from around the entire NHL. So of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around so you don't miss anything. And I will catch you next time.